Wake up. It's time to use your mojo. Wake up. It's time to use your mojo.
So we're reading from the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East.
Now, a reminder for all of you, many of you who are addicts already have this information. I'm sharing this information respectfully for those for whom this information has been held back. Are we clear? Two reasons: to give them information, to give them courage, and to also for them to recognize what's happening currently that we've been telling you for years that's manifesting now, including what I've told you about what, two and a half weeks ago more, right? When we talked about, when I told you next 30 to 40 days, authority for the institutions will be dead. Read that, Dr. J.
Chapter 8, the Council of the Seven
will be dead.
You're reading from the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East.
Now, a reminder for all of you, many of you who are addicts already have this information. I'm sharing this information respectfully for those for whom this information has been held back. Are we clear? Two reasons: to give them information, to give them courage, and to also for them to recognize what's happening currently that we've been telling you for years that's manifesting now, including what I've told you about what, two and a half weeks ago more, right? When we talked about, when I told you next 30 to 40 days, authority for the institutions will be dead. Read that, Dr. J.
Chapter 8, the Council of the Seven of the World. In every age since time began, shall I read the numbers? Limited numbers.
Yes.
Okay, 1.
No, you don't.
You don't have to read the numbers. Okay, in every age since time began, but 7 sages lived. At first of every age, these sages meet to note the course of nations, people, tribes, and tongues, to note how far towards justice and love the race has gone, to formulate the code of law, religious postulates, and plans of rule best suited to the coming age. An age had passed, and lo, another age had come. The sages must convene. Now, Alexandria was the center of the world's best thought, and here in Philo's home, the sages met. From China came Mengst, from India, Mengster. From India, is it Vadayapati, came from Persia, Caspar came, and from Assyria, Ashbina came. From Greece, Apollo came. Matheno was the Egyptian sage, and Philo was the chief of Hebrew thought. The time was due. The council met and sat in silence 7 days. And the Mengster rose and said, the wheel of time has turned once more. The race is on a higher plane of thought. And the garments that our fathers wore have given out. The cherubim have woven a celestial cloth, have placed it in our hands, and we must make for men new garbs. The sons of men are looking up for greater light. No longer do they care for the gods hewn out of wood. They seek for Allah, not made with hands. They see the beams of coming days and yet comprehend them not. The time is ripe, and we must fashion well these garments for the race. And let us make for men new garbs of justice, mercy, and love, and that they may hide their nakedness, which shines the light of coming days. And Vadipati said, our priests have gone mad. They saw a demon in the wilds, and At him cast their lamps, and they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. The night is dark, the heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed, it is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine of Allah. And Casper said, in Persia, people walk in fear. They do the good for fear to do the wrong. The devil is the greatest power in our land, and though a myth, he dandles on his knees both youth and age. Our land is dark, and evil prospers in the dark. Fear rides on every passing breeze and lurks in every form of life. The fear of evil is a myth, is an illusion and snare, but it will live until some mighty power shall come to raise the ethers to the plane of light. When this shall come to pass, the Magian land will glory in the light. The soul of Persia calls for light. And that's that chapter.
Now, this is what all professors know, PhDs know, all people in what you call political wardship operative powers know, that you've been calling, quote unquote, senators and governors and congresswomen and congressmen, and all persons in all of your secret societies, particularly above the 3rd degree, and most absolutely at 18 degrees. They all know this. However, their dedication to Rome and the order of the Circle Church and Chancery is not to reveal this to the masses, because it would liberate them mentally. Once mentally free, nature takes its course and they would rebel. Are we clear? So logistically, this is why King Alfred is in place, Dr. G, to control the mentality of the people. Now, know well that the priesthood already knows this, Dr. G, that the whole platform of the priesthood operating at Midgard is for the most part a sham from day one. Now, the issue of controlling the people is for them not to know that. This is why the people are not to know that the taxing system is a tithing system. They're one and the same. And the one behind it are one and the same. Now, I want you to read this, Dr. G. Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary. This is the status of the nom de guerre. And I'm also going to bring to you, first of all, this first, the nom de guerre. I want you to look at what it is, read it. Now, pay attention to the breakdown, because remember, when people are given dictionaries, they're not taught to pay attention to the breakdown. Read that.
Okay. Nom de guerre, nom de guerre. It's a noun. It's plural. Plural is noms de guerre. Nom, a fictitious name, a pseudonym. That far.
What's the breakdown?
French. Is that French?
Yes.
Nom, which means name, and
de guerre.
D of, and it says plume pen. No,
Gear.
I'm looking this up. No, I'm looking at the red. Of gear. I'm looking at the long one behind. I'm sorry. D of gear, which war. So it means
A war name.
A war name.
So all of these names that these people think are identities are nom de guerre. Now, scholars know this. This is why, like, over the years, Dr. G, when sometimes, when we're talking and you would say to me, oh, well, some of them don't know that. I give that to the average people out there. But anyone who claims to be a scholar or teacher,
one means name, and
de guerre,
D of, and it says plume pen. No,
gear.
I'm looking this up. No, I'm looking at the red. of gear. I'm looking at the long one behind. I'm sorry. D of gear, which war. So it means
A war name.
Yeah, a war name.
So all of these names that these people think are identities are nom de guerre. Now, scholars know this. This is why, like over the years, Dr. G, when sometimes, when we're talking and you would say to me, oh, well, some of them don't know that. I give that to the average people out there. But anyone who claims to be a scholar or teacher, or teaching our young children, because remember this, because grammar is the basics, right? They know this. Why do you never see them talk like this? Because it would kill their own platform. And the people would recognize clearly that they've been lying. Not just, now look, write this. What's this? What's this, Dr. J?
The American Heritage College Dictionary.
Example. All right. So here we go again. Before we go to this, because we're establishing for the record the status
About names.
of these persons held to nom de guerre, the true Americans who are held in nom de guerre, and their estates have been stolen over the years, meaning that they've invented things and benefited from none. They built large temples and were not allowed to enter. They built houses and had no place to lay their heads. They've tilled the field and gone home to hungry families. And they've been calling it racism.